I've just been playing about with doing my blood pressure results, and this is the one that I just got after taking maybe less than a minute or so from doing the thumbnail, and I can say that I don't have to worry about my blood pressure because it was something that I was doing, because I, after an argument with my dad, had a blood pressure recording that was in a stage 1 hypertension when I recorded it with the watch, but not this blood pressure machine monitor. So I think after doing it for a while, after doing it a few times, not many times, I think I'm okay. I don't have to worry because my measurements, my results are basically 99% of the time 100 within the 120/80 mark. So I don't fear for my health, which I used to because of things like that and the blood pressure recordings I get from the watch. I used to worry that I might not be I put myself in a position where I could get high blood pressure, and that's a very big deal for someone like me, for me, because I do value my health. I say that a lot, and I do go out my way to prove to myself that I do, through going out my way to exercise on a regular basis. Although I might not have been doing that as much recently these past few days, and I definitely could up the ante there. I, more often than not, do definitely go out my way to take care of my health physically through exercising a lot, and it's not something, I don't want my health to deteriorate. And in pursuit of managing my health, I've got this blood pressure monitor of something I've been wanting for a long while, and I've finally done it. And I think if I keep this up, I'd eventually be able to get to a point where I'd be making the weekly health reviews again. I'm not sure if I'd make them public, but that doesn't mean I can't do them, regardless of whether I upload them publicly or make them private. Now, as for showing my physique results and how my journey's going from year to year, making or not making weekly health reviews won't have a difference there in terms of whether I can or can't do it, because I can just get the results. I can just get everything I need to get, even without taking photos on a weekly basis. So in that regard, it will still be fine, and I'll still be able to talk about my results from day to day without showing proof for it. But yeah, I don't need to worry. It's fine. That argument I was talking about earlier, that was less than a month ago, I'd say, and I'd been worried since that point that I genuinely might need help. I might need professional help. That was what one of my sisters told me, that I probably should go and speak to a doctor because of that. That's a really big, that's a health issue, having a blood pressure within that over 120/80 range or amount. Yeah, 120 systolic, 80 diastolic is what I'm talking about, and I was within that on with what I just showed earlier. But yeah, anyway, I say in terms of just overall health, I'm getting there, but I do if I really want to make more progress, I've got to keep going forward with the exercise stuff, because I'm showing to myself in times like this when I'm going to be moving and I could be going through life-changing situations, I can put exercise on hold, and that's not something I want to show to myself. I don't want to show to myself that that's something I deem acceptable, because I want to always be taking care of my health, and I don't deem that mindset a problem, especially right now, because I don't think I'm overtraining at all. It's been a long while since I've actually done had an effective session of any kind, or like physically exercised outside of just walking. And when I did walk today, I went to go get chips. No, I got a burger actually. I got a chicken burger. As usual, I've got to be careful with eating so much chicken breast, especially fried chicken breast, because there's a lot of salt content in not just the seasoning, but also the chicken breast itself. On the premise I don't put a limit on how much chicken I eat, I'm definitely setting myself up for high blood pressure issues, especially in combination with the fact that blood pressure related issues runs in the family. Yeah. But anyway, there's a whole load of health issues that, so I hear, are rather race oriented, especially seeing as I am of African descent. That does mean for me that I'm more likely to get high blood pressure related issues. I don't know how that works, but yeah. Oh, why that's the case? I'm thinking it's from chicken, stereotypically speaking, and eating so much of that. But from a non-stereotypical standpoint, I really don't know. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. I don't really know what else to talk about, really. I do have one thing on my mind, but I'll just leave it about no, I don't even want to talk about it, but it was about health related stuff, so never mind. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the video. At least I've got some video of some sort. Yeah, actually no, in fact I won't leave it there. It's not the same thing I wanted to talk about, but it is something that I think probably almost certainly would be worth talking about. I think that from the moment I'd hear my mum keep telling me over and over again, you're not doing nothing, I've just very much, if I hadn't already been living in rebellion to the thoughts that my parents would put on me that I didn't like, and I don't want to live my life permanently in rebellion. It has helped me to the point where I've gone out of my way to start taking care of my physical health, and I'm putting myself in a position where I'm genuinely getting closer and closer to living a way of life that I consider ideal. But I think this way of thinking, of just wanting to have something to show to, in my mind, prove that my mum was wrong, can only get me so far, because having that sort of mindset of just wanting to have something to show would then mean I'm making it unnecessarily difficult for myself to move past that point, because that is just the standard, and I'm not thinking I would want to do more than just that just having something to show is acceptable. And with that mindset, in rebellion to my mum's way of thinking that she put on me that I didn't like, I would just allow myself to only get up to a certain point with taking care of my health, out of anger and in rebellion to that way of thinking. It very much is short-sighted. I thought that before. I've explicitly told her this. She felt unhappy with it, but I still stick by it. I do think that way of thinking is short-sighted, because I think just because you can't see something happening doesn't mean that it's not happening. That's very basic common sense, but it doesn't seem like that's something that she's willing to understand. I don't doubt that she has the mental capacity to understand that, but I just think it's something that she doesn't want to understand. Anyway, because of this way of thinking, I've only allowed myself to get to a certain point, and I think it's about time I allow myself to move past that point and put myself in a position where, although I am having something to show for each day in the way I'd want, I'm going out of my way to perform at my highest level. Now, if I'm not careful, that definitely still could be in rebellion to that way of thinking, as I've spoken about, but it at least would have been an evolution from that point, from that way of thinking, because, well, I think this, we're still running. I think this because that just having something to show in rebellion to my, that way of thinking that my mum put on me, I wouldn't just have that and that alone. I would actually be thinking about my performance, like the performance itself, and actually caring for what I'm doing. And it's something that I did actually indirectly talk about, in my opinion, in the daily log, which I titled "Be Your Own Superhero," in which it started to click now, right this instant, in which I not only just cared for having something to show for each day, but I cared about performing to my highest level at my current physical ability, in which developing on my ability was the motive. I definitely could still feel angry at my parents for all of the injustices I actually did and have thought I have experienced in reality when I haven't, due to just faulty memory. In my mind, I think certain things happen when they might not have. Although I could live in rebellion for the rest of my life, I think I'd like to move past this point, because although I sense it has been helpful for me to get to this point in my life, being in rebellion, to just prove to myself that I wasn't insane about the way how I think about certain things in life, or just how they've raised me. I wanted to show to myself that I was the one that was right, and that my way of life is better than theirs. Out of anger, to stand up for myself. I'd use those feelings to stand up for myself in my own mind, that I was right, that living a health conscious life, which I'm going out my way to do now, is not necessarily the right way to go, but one that has a lot more perks than it does downsides. Or at least perceived perks and perceived benefits, and factual, objective perks, like being improving and maintaining the state of my physical and mental health, that sort of stuff, and having a lack of physical and mental health issues, both short and long term. Yeah, I think now now that I've thought that, I could just go out my way to think about how I can make that happen. It being not only just having something to show for the day, and not out of rebellion for what my parents have said, but also being able to perform to the highest level for my own satisfaction and for my own fulfillment, that is independent of that anger that I felt towards my mum, repetitively saying that over and over and over again. In her defense, I didn't give her a reason to think differently, but I wanted to be quiet about what I was doing, because I didn't want to be told no again. I didn't want to be told, like how I did in school, that I couldn't, because of my grades, I couldn't go and get a job while I was doing school. I didn't want to have that same sort of I didn't want to be given the lack of empowerment and the lack of permission to do what I wanted to do in terms of taking care of my health from my parents. From them, for example, saying, no, you can't do X, Y, and Z. No, let's say for the personal training courses that I'm doing, no, you can't go to this place to pass your personal training course and to do your practical assessments, because X, Y, and Z, some rubbish. But anyway, or maybe even you can't go to this country or whatever, because you haven't gone out, we can't trust you. Some rubbish like that, even though I am an adult at this point, and it's not something that I think that they can decide to have the power over anymore, because I'm not a minor. And I think, like a family relative said, I think the best, so that I don't keep my growth stunted. So this is all that I was gonna say on camera, but the phone cut off due to full storage. So just think about what I was just saying before, and then carry on from, which is I think partially why, and then the rest of it, that's what I was gonna say basically. However, in terms of me talking, that's it. I'm done. So that's me finito, and I'll let this play for a bit longer so that it can be read. Peace.